Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game Junk Prototype, episode 78, recording on Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
So, some brief news to get to. Starting next week, actually, I should say what we're talking about. Like, who cares about the news? People are tuning in. They want to know. Like, Nintendo Direct happened today, and it was amazing. People are losing their minds over this thing. I'm actually surprised. I checked to see what was trending on Twitter, and I didn't see anything on there.
Really? I mean, check back. I'm sure something's on there now, but...
Yeah? Okay. This was pretty recently, and maybe it was just a Canada thing. I don't know. But quite a few big announcements. Some things I'm excited about, so we'll get into all of that. But starting next week, the show usually drops on Friday. We record on Thursday nights. And next week, we'll be switching to Sunday recording, Monday drop. So that will be the first drop will be October 4th. Metroid Dread Week.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up. All right. So let's get into it for the Nintendo Direct for today. This is September.
Number one trending topic on Twitter right
now.
now.
It is? Okay. All right. That makes more sense. I was really surprised because usually even the most minimal Nintendo announcements seem to have people talking about it on Twitter. So
number one and number 6. And number 11.
Serious.
So, oh yeah. Making big headlines here.
All is right with the world. Nintendo still dominates video game news. So I'm going to go through kind of one by one. I'm going to glance over some stuff. I'm sure there's a few that we'll get into details for. The first was Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is DLC for Monster Hunter Rise. I mean, there's so much juice left in the squeeze for Monster Hunter. It'll never stop. I don't play it. I don't care. I'm sure a lot of people do. Moving on?
Yeah, nothing to say.
Okay. I've not played Rise. Next was just confirming some new boards or stages coming to Mario Party Superstars later this month when it's kind of a collection of all classic Mario Party boards. I think I've played one Mario Party game. I would say I am thinking about buying this one as like the first Mario Party game I've ever bought. Anyone else feeling the same way?
Yeah, it's not really at the top of my list. Like I did pick up the last Mario Party game that they put out for the Switch. Probably only played it a couple times, but I mean, I do like Mario Party. I have played some of the previous titles, so I'm interested, but based on how little I played the last one, I am not in any hurry.
I was thinking about picking this up for the kids mainly, to play with the kids. I thought it'd be fun. But we've been playing a new game together that's been a lot of fun that I'll get into in what we played. So I'm kind of leaning to just leaving this one be and getting it from the library occasionally.
Sonic Shuffle for Dreamcast.
Close.
Okay.
The next was a new RPG, Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. Very Nintendo-y announcement. Some kind of weird RPG card game. Didn't look horrible, I wouldn't say, but I really have no idea what it is. I don't know if this is based on some series or franchise I'm completely unaware of. I don't think so. They kind of said a new RPG, so I have no opinion on it whatsoever, except the actual presentation, the user interface looked pretty good, but definitely not moving any needles over here.
Yeah, not based on anything as far as I know, but it does say here Yoko Taro of Nier fame is the designer or producer or something. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. But I mean, my only thought watching this was just there's a lot of card games coming out. This is like a new thing. Like if you can say you're a card game or a deck builder or something, people are in.
I don't know if they're in or not. I don't disagree. There's a lot of them, like games that have deck and card features, but I don't know if it's you're going to be making millions based on that alone. So
yeah, I think they're kind of chasing chasing it now. They're a little behind the wave, kind of like roguelikes or roguelites kind of also had the same thing. After kind of like Rogue Legacy and Hollow Knight and some of those, then you see a whole wave of roguelites coming out. And I think this is kind of the after effect of the card battler genre now.
Well,
people are getting tired.
Let me be stupid here. What was the wave of the card battler? What's like the big card battling game that started the wave?
Well, I was thinking like Slay the Spire, kind of that at least time frame. I feel like a bunch of other ones came out around that time as well.
I mean, we've been talking about Dicey Dungeons, and
which came out like 2 years ago.
Well, these are just games that have cards as like a feature. Like this is like a card RPG.
Yeah, it
I understand
seem like a bit of a different,
like stuff like Magic and like Pokemon cards and I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. I've never played any of that stuff, but I just don't know what this huge wave is that we're trying to rein in. I never saw the wave. They've always existed. They've always been semi-popular, more popular in physical form. So I don't know what this is trying to capture. I bet if we saw the sales numbers for Slay the Spire, they would not indicate a wave, even though it's revered in like.
I think that game has done really well. I can't say for sure, but like I feel like that one has. I don't know. You're right. Maybe there isn't like a huge wave, and I guess card collecting battling games have always been around, but maybe it's just more that they're mixing it into different genres now.
For sure, that I would 100% agree with. All the games have like some card element, and whether it's Lost and Random, there was another one that Neon White, I think, is
right. Yeah.
Like they all had it. Anyway, moving on. Disco Elysium coming to Switch. Who cares? Next, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity DLC continuing.
Yeah, there was a lot of DLC announced at the beginning of this, and I was like, "Oh man, is that all this direct is going to be?" But
the next one is Chocobo GP, which is a kart racer featuring Final Fantasy characters. Don't really care. I doubt there's any kart racer I'd ever play, despite other IP's efforts to get me away from Mario Kart. The only thing I will say, the spell, like the power-ups, I love the idea of Fire, Fira, Figara, like leveling up those fire spells. That's pretty cool. Like on brand with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that interests me, but I must say, when you put a kart racer on the Switch against Mario Kart, you better be bringing it. And it looked a little, behind the times graphics-wise from what I was seeing.
I know there's a very large audience of fans for Final Fantasy stuff, and that's what they're hoping for. But like even Sonic Racing Transformed or whatever, like that was a decent kart racer, and it's still... Like, why bother? I'll just play Mario Kart.
Yeah, I mean, it like obviously, like I'm not super into Final Fantasy, so this isn't really scratching any sort of itch for me. But it just was kind of like a weird throwback in the sense that there was a time when everyone was trying to do kart racers, and they all kind of got lost in the dust, and Mario Kart is the only one still standing.
Everyone's riding those waves.
Yeah.
All through the years, new waves. Trying to latch on. Next, final new fighter for Smash Brothers revealed October 5th. Moving on. Finally, something, in my opinion, extremely interesting, which is Kirby and the Forgotten Land coming spring 2022. And it's, to my recollection, the first 3D Kirby game. I might be forgetting one, but they all seem to be 2D games. Especially on the Wii and Wii U, they were kind of had unique art styles like Kirby's Epic Yarn, and they were 2D based games. This one reminded me a lot of Mario 3D World / Odyssey, probably closer to 3D World, but I thought it looked amazing. Like I loved the bosses. I thought the boss like character art and like style was amazing. So I'm in. I'm definitely looking forward to this game. If anything, my biggest problem with Kirby is anytime I try to play a Kirby game, it's very slow paced. Like, I feel like it's really dragging along in terms of movement and other things. This one seemed to be a bit more fast and intense. So I'm hoping this is the first Kirby game I really get into.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite thing that was announced. But I mean, I'm not like super into Kirby, and I feel like the issue with Kirby games is always that they're just really easy and kind of aimed at kids, which is fine. But it's one of those things where it's like I wonder if this one might have sort of a difficulty level that's aimed a little beyond that, but like some sort of option to dumb it down a bit if somebody younger wants to play it.
I highly doubt it. Like, to my recollection, the biggest complaint with Mario Odyssey was that it was too easy, and even Mario had kind of been
that's true,
kidified a bit. So I highly doubt that.
I agree with you guys. I found this very interesting as well. I feel like I haven't played a Kirby game in a long time. I know like Epic Yarn, and there was another Yarn type Kirby game that came out. Sorry. But I also got the Mario Odyssey vibe, especially with like the switching hats, and they obviously had like a Zelda type hat where you get a sword. And so I don't know if I've played a Kirby game like that where you just don't have the kind of like core air sucking mechanic and stuff like that, and with the flying and the ballooning yourself up. So I think it's interesting, and this is one of kind of Nintendo's core franchises. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store.
I looked up Kirby on Google, and I'm just looking at how many first of all Kirby games there are.
There's a lot,
and I can't believe I've never beaten one. I don't think I've beaten 2 stages of one of these games. Like, that's crazy. If anyone I have, it's Epic Yarn. I played, I think, maybe 4 or 5 levels of. But I don't know how a franchise this beloved, that's a platformer, one of my favorite genres, like, has just completely escaped me. And
you
even
ever played the original Dreamland?
I didn't have a Game Boy, and I remember it was like a game I saw commercials for, and I'm like, I have to get a Game Boy. This looks amazing.
I think that's the only one I've beaten.
Yeah, and
the original Game Boy one.
Yeah,
never got a Game Boy and never played another one since.
You still don't have a Game Boy in the Retro Lounge?
Nope. The one console that's missing.
Oh my goodness.
I think I have everything else, and except for Virtual Boy. All right, next, Animal Crossing Direct coming in October. Snooze fest. Keep it going. I love these announcements about announcements. Like, it's getting out of control.
Yeah.
Next one is one I'm actually excited about. 2 new characters in Mario Golf Super Rush. Not that I care about the new characters, but 2 new courses for free. I like this kind of trend of... It's in Animal Crossing to some degree, but a lot of free content and extended life cycles on Nintendo games, which is something they have not done in the past. So I'm all for that. Next, Disney Magical Worlds 2. I don't even remember seeing the title.
Yeah, it's like Enchanted Edition or something too, because I think it's like a 3DS game or something.
We're moving on, right? We're good?
Yeah, we're moving on.
Okay. Next, Knights of the Old Republic. After the huge announcement in Sony, we get the old one coming to Switch. Moving on.
If this announcement had come before the Sony press conference, people might have been pretty excited, I think, but now it just feels like, what's the point? People are going to wait to play the remake.
The sad part is I would love to see the sales numbers on this. I bet it makes a ton of money.
Yeah,
probably.
Could be.
Okay, up next, always remember, stay human. Said that like 3 times in this announcement. A cloud version of Dying Light 2, Stay Human.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone tried a cloud version for anything on Switch? Just that's the only thing I can think of to talk about here.
Kind of interested to see how it compares to like the Xbox Cloud gaming and the Gaikai PlayStation. Because I mean, if you're paying for just that game cloud streaming, it better be damn good, because that is your experience. You're paying whatever $60 for, whatever it is. Whereas on the cloud gaming stuff, you got a library to choose from. You're not just paying for one cloud gaming experience and that's it.
I'm
Seems
also
crazy.
curious to know the difference. Like, I bet it's actually not bad or an advantage for the Switch playing in handheld mode, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's a lower resolution. Like the streaming, the size of the frames is substantially smaller. But I wonder what the difference is between docked and handheld mode for this kind of stuff. Anyway, moving on. An update on Triangle Strategy. I think that's the official title now. Pardon me if it isn't.
Yeah, did they change it? It was like,
Well, it was originally Project Triangle Strategy, and I think it's just
okay,
called
right.
Triangle Strategy now. I still think the art style is cool. It's not my genre of game. Huck, what are you thinking about this?
I think it looks great. It's basically Octopath Traveler meets Final Fantasy Tactics, so I'm looking forward to it. And I never played the demo. I think I downloaded it, but I never played it. And I don't know. I don't think I need to. I think it's going to be interesting. I'll give it a go.
Comes out March 4th. So not that far out.
6
But-
months.
Yeah.
Next, one of the bigger updates was Metroid Dread, which I hadn't seen the story trailer. I don't know if some of this stuff was in there or the last trailer. My God, this game looks amazing. I cannot wait for this new Metroid game. No other game really has gotten me this excited in a while. Like, the bosses look fantastic. Each of the worlds looks super unique. Gameplay looked fast-paced, classic Metroid. I cannot wait for Metroid Dread.
It's looking
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. I think this was all kind of newish stuff. I don't think too much of this was in the other trailer, but the one thing that struck me...
Is it Kraid? Is that the name of that boss? Was Kraid in any other?
Kraid? Yeah, he's like in the original at
No,
least.
but was that in any Metroid Dread stuff before? Is that the first time?
I don't know. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but the one thing that struck me as strange, and I'm trying to understand, like, they had this weird like vocoder robotic voiceover thing happening throughout some of the trailer. And I was like, is this part of the game or is this just like the marketing? Like, I couldn't, do you know what I'm talking about?
Say it again.
There was like this weird voiceover throughout the trailer where it was like saying things like,
I think they were that was doing features of the game, like it was talking about the different game worlds, and then they said, if you haven't already, check out Metroid Dread Report Volume 8 on.
right, yeah.
It's just marketing stuff. Did you check it out, Sean? Have you checked out
I
all
did.
8 volumes?
I did not.
Like, is it just me, or is like Nintendo living in like this insane past for marketing? Like,
Yeah, they are so
website.
out of date. It's crazy.
It's nuts. But apparently Kraid was featured. There's a Kotaku article showing it says Big Boy Kraid returns in Metroid Dread, and like there's a GIF there, and it looks amazing. So yeah, this game's gonna rock. I hope
Yep.
it's like, it's gonna be a perfect like 11, 12 hours. It's gonna do everything I need.
I hope so.
We might have a new game of the year. Sorry, might have. I've got
No
a
blue
really-
haze on this one.
No blue haze. Next, a pleasant announcement, I'd say. I'm sure people are complaining about it, though. Nintendo Online getting Nintendo 64 and Genesis libraries added at a price. It is not included in the standard Nintendo Online. You have to pay for the expansion pack for Nintendo Online. So I'll probably end up getting it. Even though the initial games, like there's only 8 for Nintendo 64, and they're not that exciting to me. And Genesis, I have all of these Genesis games in 20 different formats and collections that I've previously purchased, but I'm an idiot. They're not stupid. I'll pay for it again. I'll probably buy their physical Switch, N64, and Genesis controllers too. So I think it is cool that they're making old versions of control, like the old controllers that are wireless. I really like that. I think that's neat, and I feel like I need to support it with my money.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people thought, there's been rumors about this coming for a long time, and people have been definitely wanting the N64. So it's, I guess, a little underwhelming in how they're actually doing it. Like, I just based on those, the initial titles and the fact that you're paying more, I probably won't jump on initially, but I'll keep my eye on it. Like, they do seem to, like, with what they've done with the virtual console and the online service up till now, they do sometimes add weird kind of obscure titles. So sometimes there's cool stuff on there, but yeah, I could see people complaining for sure.
They didn't release any pricing details, but
and no launch date either, I don't think, right?
I think it said either October or November, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay, also Shadowrun trilogy, have nothing to say. Next, the biggest, well, not biggest, but two surprise announcements that I was really excited for. Castlevania Advance Collection, which I'm sure Sean is pumped for as well. So getting all those Game Boy Advance versions of Castlevania. And let's talk about them at the same time. ActRaiser Renaissance, which I remember playing ActRaiser when I got my Super Nintendo a few years ago, and I bought it in like just a cart. And ActRaiser is really cool. Like, it's a mixing genre game. So to see I thought the graphics looked pretty good. A remastered version of ActRaiser had me intrigued, and definitely. And they're out today. And I will say, Team Blue Haze, they are out on PlayStation as well. Possibly okay. Xbox, but I checked the PlayStation Store. Both of these are also out today on PlayStation consoles. So I was definitely happy to that I'm probably going to buy these as soon as we're done with this show. And after a little trophy research, I will start playing them, perhaps. I'm just going to add, while we're talking with this, I didn't look up Xbox. Just going to say, my Xbox will not connect to the internet. I
really
tried everything. It's like I've tried physical MAC address changes, reset every router, modem in my house. It is done. I've done a hard reset of the Xbox. What a piece of shit.
So, like, you think the network adapter's dead or something?
I don't know what it is. Other people have this problem. It's like...
Uh-oh. Oh, Frankie's Wi-Fi is dead.
It's not just his Xbox.
Yeah, it's not my internet. My internet froze while we were doing that. I don't know if my internet can hear me talking about it because
I think so. I think
my internet connection is unstable.
It's pissed.
I'm getting unstable. But what do you guys think about these two new remaster collection games announced?
Well, the Castlevania one's not a remaster, right? It's just a collection, but it is cool. I mean, I have all these games, but I mean, Aria of Sorrow is probably like one of my favorite Castlevania games, and Harmony of Dissonance. I have it on Game Boy Advance, but the cart doesn't save. Like the save files don't save anymore. So,
John, when are you gonna break out your Game Boy Advance and play these games? Like, at least you get a digital collection.
Yeah, I mean, I
have all these games. I have all these games that have not been touched.
I mean, handheld systems are still pretty easy to, pull out and play, but I agree with you. I'd much rather play it in this format. So
the only point for these remasters is it's like a push to play them again. If they didn't release this, I wouldn't be thinking about playing these games at all.
Well, I think these games were hard to find and have been hard to find for years. So that's, people have wanted these. So that's nice to see. And of course that they threw in the, is it the Dracula X, or what was the fourth one that's on this collection? Because it's not actually a Game Boy
I looked at the trophy list and I think it's Dracula X, but I think Dracula X was in another collection, like the one that I think it came with the Symphony of the Night one as well,
yeah, it could be. But
I played Dracula X, I'm almost positive.
Yeah, it's like just a nice little bonus, but surprising. And then ActRaiser, the fact that it's an actual remaster is very surprising. I remember this game. I don't know if I ever played it, but I'm definitely interested.
So this is kind of interesting. So the Castlevania, according to Polygon, the Castlevania collection is Switch PS4, Windows, and Xbox One. No next gen consoles, just last gen. And
a lot of games are like that, right? They're automatically backwards compatible.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah. And then ActRaiser, PlayStation 4, Switch, PC, iOS, Android, no Xbox at all. Which either I'm sensing maybe a future Game Pass
could be
addition. But interesting that Xbox is left completely out, especially since they took the time to do an iOS and Android port. Like, who does an Android port? Let's be real. And not do an Xbox port? Where are you going to make more money, Android or Xbox?
It's pretty weird.
You're the port master.
Let me tell you, it's not Android. Okay, it's not definitely not Android.
Okay, next, Deltarune's chapters coming. I'm kind of surprised based on how huge Undertale was that Deltarune is never talked about. I've never played it, don't really care, but is it big? Like, does anyone talk about this game?
I don't think so.
I mean, it's like I saw a lot of excitement when they announced Chapter 2. I think part of the problem is that, like, the first chapter, it was just part of a game. So it feels like, you're only getting a piece of a story. And
weren't there issues with that game where it was, like, bricking consoles or, like...
I don't know.
Am I imagining that?
But I want to check it out at some point. But again, it's like, do I play chapter 1 and 2 and wait? Like, it sounds like it's going to be like a couple years before the rest of the chapters come out. So,
the Telltale problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some stories about Deltarune bricking their PC and stuff like that. So, I do remember something about that. And next, the big announcement that's probably trending on Twitter, number 1. Is it? Am I correct?
I think so, if you're going to say what I think you're going to say.
That, let me just get the name right here. Chris Meledandri's son, working on the Mario movie with Universal. Everyone's excited about Chris Meledandri. Am I pronouncing his name right?
I think so.
Okay. I just thought it was funny that they went out of their way. Like, he's like I'm assuming he's the CEO of Illumination. Like, it's funny that they mentioned the CEO when they're talking about the Mario animated movie. But they did voice casting, and I'm sure that's what people are interested in. Who was it? Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy. You got the list, Sean? I didn't.
So Charlie Day is... So Chris Pratt's Mario. Anya Taylor-Joy is Princess Peach. Charlie Day is Luigi. Jack Black as Bowser, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, and I think there were a few others listed. I don't see them here, but...
And then I didn't know the Mario voice actor is apparently going to have some cameos and stuff like that. This announcement meant nothing to me, so I'm not surprised it's trending number 1, but what do you...
Well, it's trending number 1 because people are making fun of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. Because it's just a random, like, A-list actors doing Mario. And it really, to me, is setting off alarm bells because, Nintendo famously, after the live-action Super Mario movie, they were so kind of, like, hesitant to work with Hollywood for years and years after that. And now they're doing this, and it was like, okay, so they should have learned some lessons. They're, controlling their IP. Obviously, Miyamoto's involved. He was part of the announcement there. And then you're just like going to throw random voice actors at this. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
They're not random, I wouldn't say. It's basically the marketing strategy of every animated movie.
Yeah, you're right. But then, that's kind of the problem with what I think the original Mario Brothers movie was, where it was just sort of like, let Hollywood do its thing. And I don't know, maybe all these voice actors have like an amazing take.
He's a moneymaker. He puts people in seats.
Not that, but it's just like, hand over the property and let someone else kind of reimagine it. And it's like, do these, maybe these voice actors all have amazing takes on each of these characters and can do these amazing voices, but I doubt it. And I doubt they would hire them to do that anyway. So I don't know. I don't know what it means, but it seems like a bit of a joke.
And is it not a giant kick in the balls for the voice actor of Mario for like the last 25 years to not be voicing Mario, but just be having some cameos here and there. Like, oh yeah, don't worry, we'll let you be in the Mario movie. I mean, you are Mario, but we'll let you be like the sound of a drain pipe going down or something like that. Like, I don't know what they're going to make him do, but it's obviously not as glamorous as Mario.
If we're going to talk about Mario, has there been a Nintendo game where Mario has had like, other than It's a Me Mario, like there is a difference?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, this is one of the things where it's hard to visualize what this movie is because these characters don't really talk very much. And so it's just going to be...
Peach does in some games.
Does she?
I think so. And
Toad. The intro of Mario 64.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in the more recent ones she has lines, and Toad usually has something in like Treasure Tracker and all those games, right? Like the mushroom guys.
They're always just like a quick like one-liner here and there, but like that Nintendo has rarely done like fully voiced games with their big franchises. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, yeah, it is made to be like, look at these huge stars, get excited, but it just seems like they're getting away from that idea of like focus on the actual property and take care of it.
We don't know what the movie is. It could honestly, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe the characters barely talk. We don't even know what it is. It's just a marketing thing to get big names talking about it on their social media when it comes out or doing press interviews.
I hope these actors don't do any voices at all. It's just like their regular voices. And they're
that's what I was thinking, like a Groot
like
situation.
Seth Rogen doing Donkey Kong would just be so stupid that he is the voice. It would be amazing. Like, who cares? You're just screwing Mario. Let Mario go away for another 20 years from movies because Nintendo gets pissed off. And then, it'll come back in 20 years. They'll give it another shot.
I guess I'm surprised that people are this upset about it. It was like, I saw the announcement. I'm like, sounds about right. Sounds like what the Mario movie would be like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess, like, yeah, what do you expect? They're not going to announce a bunch of no-name voice actors. Like, they're going to pick Hollywood stars, at least for the main cast. But, yeah, I think the Chris Pratt as Mario thing in particular was just, people were like, what? Like,
yeah, I get that.
Sense.
I definitely was surprised to hear that, but I mean,
unless they're going like pure comedy, right? Because a lot of these guys are purely rooted in comedy. Like Chris Pratt, he's done comedic movies, hasn't he? Like Guardians of the Galaxy, besides that, hasn't he done other ones?
Yeah, well, I mean, he came from Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and then you got
the Lego movie as well. Okay, that whole point was he was kind of like a generic nobody character living in this Lego world, and his voice kind of matched it. So, yeah, like maybe he does the best Mario you've ever heard. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm skeptical.
And then I think like almost half of the guys were comedians, right? If not more. So I wonder if they're just going for some sort of comedic slapstick comedy type.
Like, it's a animated movie. It's a cartoon. Like that makes sense. Like I'm not expecting like super dramatic Mario. But
aren't all animated movies comedians for the most part? Like
maybe.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to the 3-hour marathon film junk review.
Don't worry, Jay was already texting us about it. So he's very excited.
Okay, moving on. Splatoon 3, which I got to be honest, the editing on this trailer was like very frantic. It was tough for me to get a sense of what it was. I never really got into Splatoon, but this trailer didn't really make me want to get back into it or get excited about Splatoon 3. I don't know about you guys.
Nope.
I mean, I kind of liked the approach. Like I liked that they were, the guy who's like pretending to be like a researcher or scientist. Like, I don't know. It was just like kind of a different attempt to, or a different kind of tone.
That's after the trailer though. Like when it was
yeah. But I think that all kind of played in with how they did the trailer a bit. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the actual gameplay and stuff, I I don't know. The one thing, it seems like it's more of like an open world type thing. I played a bit of Splatoon 2. I can't really remember. Like, I think there is like an overworld that links things together, but I wouldn't really say it was an open world game.
I mean, it started, Splatoon 1 was online only. Splatoon 2 added some campaign, which I think is not open world. It's like kind of a bunch of levels. So I don't know if they're pushing for more campaign stuff in this game. I'm kind of surprised, where I thought the attraction to Splatoon was multiplayer and always has been. So I don't know. I really didn't get a sense of what was new about Splatoon 3 from what I saw. Maybe I was checked out at this point, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess there were some new weapons, new moves or something, but yeah.
I think that scientist guy or whatever, I think he's been there for every Splatoon game. I think that's kind of like the ongoing gag they have with that guy.
Okay.
And finally, Bayonetta 3, which has been, I guess, was announced a long time ago. Finally seeing it. It's coming out in 2022 is what it said. We don't know when, but I really need to go back and play Bayonetta 1 because I played half of it and I really loved the combat. And I guess I kind of was hesitant to play it again because the sequels are all on Nintendo exclusive platforms without trophies. And I'm like, do I really want to go down that road? Playing a whole game without any trophies, like unless it's a Nintendo game. I guess they are technically published by Nintendo now. But graphically, it was not that great, I thought. Like, I almost thought like Bayonetta 1 and 2 looked better compared to what I saw in this trailer. Like, the texture resolution was pretty low, and I don't know, the models weren't that interesting. But I still think it looks good. The action always looks amazing in these games.
Well, Platinum. That's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played really either of the other Bayonetta games, I don't think. But they always looked fun, and I know they were pretty well reviewed at the time. This trailer looked kind of fun to me. I couldn't get a great sense of what the actual action is and like all these giant monsters and stuff. Like,
I mean, that's Bayonetta. It looks like a Bayonetta game, and even the tongue-in-cheek humor is, from what I remember, Bayonetta. So
yeah. Well, maybe I got to play it.
I don't know. There's that weird like toy or statue or something when there's the slow-mo happening. I don't know if that's from the series. I got the sense like that was a running gag from the series, but I have no idea if that's significant or just a random thing in this trailer. But it looked pretty good.
And at the end, didn't they have like a guy with a sword come in and he was kind of silhouetted? I totally thought that was going to be Dante from Devil May Cry when I first saw it.
I mean, the way it's presented, it's like, oh my God, it's so-and-so.
Yeah.
Like, who's so-and-so?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Who is this guy?
I have no idea if it's significant or what, but Sean's looking it up. I assume it's someone from Bayonetta 2, but...
Yeah, it must be. I also was like, should I know this guy? It kind of looks like the Devil May Cry guy, but I don't know if that's really...
Just, Sean, look up online. Who is so-and-so in Bayonetta 3?
I just started typing and it filled in Bayonetta 3 character at the end. So obviously people have been looking that up.
Not trending on Twitter?
Well, Bayonetta 3 was, but I think it just says it's a new character.
Whew. It can't be a new character. It was too weird for it to just be some random new character.
Oh, it says the end of the footage teased a new character, but it sure looked like the guy from their canceled project Scalebound.
Oh. Maybe a Microsoft partnership coming in here?
Maybe.
The one I've been
teasing
that I are predicting is going to happen for forever now.
Like, is this game confirmed to be Nintendo exclusive, or?
I assume it is. Like Bayonetta 2 was. As far as I know, this one is as well.
I think so.
Oh yeah, looks like it is. Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the end of Nintendo Direct for September 23rd, 2021. Let's give our letter grades. I'm going to give it a B-.
Wow.
pretty much because of Kirby.
High
And
grade.
I don't know, there's 3 games, Kirby, Metroid, and Bayonetta, that I think are all really good games.
Well, Metroid though. I mean,
I'll tell you what, I'm more excited for all 3 of those games than anything I saw at a Microsoft press conference this year, and I gave all of those B minuses. So to not give it a B minus would be pure insanity.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say B minus as well, but I don't really remember what I gave anything else, so I don't. My scale might be way off at this point, but I'll say B minus.
well, I'm going C minus. I don't know. Besides Kirby, like Bayonetta, okay, it looked all right, and Metroid Dread wasn't anything. I mean, the hearing about the story was nice, but it didn't get me any more excited for the game. I was already excited for the game. It didn't increase my excitement at all. I feel like most of the gameplay they showed was pretty similar to stuff they had shown before. So, other than Kirby, nothing much to talk home about. I don't care about any of the announcements of announcements. I don't care about any of the expansion packs. I don't care about Splatoon 3. C minus.
This guy doesn't care.
I hate games. Games suck.
Anti-Nintendo, maybe even.
Of course.
All right, well, let's get into what we played. Anyone want to go first? Huck?
Well, sure, I can. So tie into the guess about what I've been playing with the kids to tie it back into Nintendo. I believe you guessed some sort of Sonic game.
Sonic Shuffle, the party
Sonic
game.
Shuffle.
Sonic party game.
You were close. It's NHL 21. So I've been playing that with the kids on Rookie. We've been prepping for the upcoming hockey season. And we've been having a great time. The kids are already unleashing their inner fury when they don't score. And they get all pissed like they should. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. We're playing just on Rookie, arcade mode, like no penalties. There is offside, so they're learning some of the rules of the game, but it's fun to just listen to them yell at the TV and get all upset and yell at each other when they don't get the pass or whatever. Brings me back to when I used to play with my buddies when I was a kid. It's amazing. So yeah, that's what I've been playing some of. Pretty fun.
Funny, like I had a little phase where Kieran was into NHL 21 and we were playing it a bit, but like he went a totally different route. He just wanted to create his own teams and like play with the logos and the color of the jerseys. He just did that for weeks.
So, Huck, you're playing 2021, like the old one?
Yeah, the old one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on Xbox. So that's the one that's free on EA Play, yeah. Yeah, or Game Pass, I guess. It's all tied into that now.
All right. Sean?
Well, I was just going to briefly mention Deathloop. I haven't played too much more, put it in a few more hours, and I will just say I got past the part where you find out what the glowing objects are, which I guess that's where the tutorial concludes. I'm not really exactly sure, but, killed my first visionary as well as part of that. And I'm still like feeling like there's new systems being introduced and I'm still like a little hazy on certain things, but I mean, I'm into it. I'm like wanting to keep coming back and keep playing. So as much as there's like tons of games coming out right now, I'm trying to stay focused on that for the most part.
Okay. I have not played any more Deathloop because just let me switch it up here. Let me go into blue haze mode. Activating blue haze. The reason I haven't played Deathloop is because I had forgotten that I think it's Kana Bridge of Spirits. It sounded like that's what
Kana.
it came. I don't know. When the characters talk in the game, I could have swore I heard Kana.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know which one is accurate, so pardon me if either one is incorrect. But I'd forgotten it came out on Tuesday. So I pre-downloaded and have played probably 3 hours, which it is a PlayStation exclusive, also on, I think, PC on Steam and the Epic Store. But I am really liking it. It's. I know people are talking about the art style. I love the character art, the levels. Looks amazing. It's super polished. if I had any, like, my major criticism for the game right now is it's too polished. Like, they try to, like, even the parry, they try to do like kind of a very artistic cinematic parry to the point of it being unresponsive and looking worse as a result. Like, I wish they would just snap to it rather than kind of do this kind of blend cinematic camera for the parry. It's actually like, maybe if they had more time to polish it, it would work, but I do feel like it's over polished to a slight detriment. But the other things that really, and even the over polish comes in every time you find one of the rots or whatever, it like does this camera, and I'm finding them all the time, and I'm like, I get it. I know this camera. It's,
but those guys did digital movies though, right?
Oh yeah, no, and you can tell, like,
yeah,
like the effects are awesome. The levels are great. You can tell where they kind of saved budget. Like, the environments, at least from what I've seen so far, are somewhat repetitive. Like, it's kind of all this forest area. Not that it doesn't look awesome, but I would say the visual variety is the one area where it's lacking. That doesn't bother me that much at all. But the combat's pretty good. I've unlocked a few more powers and the bow and arrow and stuff like that. So it's great. It really feels like a Xbox 360 era type game in a good way. Like, it's not overcomplicated. I feel like what I've heard, it's about 10 hours, which is what I'm looking for. So it's a third person action game. So it's checking all my boxes. We're
game of the year.
No
potential.
secrets here. I don't think it's game of the year. It's like where you see the difference between this and a AAA PlayStation third person action game is the controls are a little clunky. They're not quite as responsive, which is not the end of the world, but like compared to Lost in Random, I think this is getting similar review scores to Lost in Random. Maybe Lost in Random picks up the further you go in the game, but on the first few hours, like, it destroys that game. It's not even close. They're about the same price. If you were debating between those two games, like, don't even think twice. Get Kenna Arcana. It's so much better. And the art is awesome. Like, I love the main character. All the character designs are fantastic. So the full motion video movies, like the rendered cinematics, are short and great. Like, they don't, like we talked about, I think it was Saints Row having that like 3-minute like repetitive trailer that was pre-rendered, and this is like, they have the perfect length so far. They just kind of advance the story and look cool. I did have a few soft lock bugs. I know it's been patched, so I did have a few problems, and I think that kind of relates to budget and size of the company. But for what it is, for $50, like, I think 40 American, I think it's awesome. I'm really digging it.
Oh, so it's not a $60 game?
No, I think it's 40 US and 50 Canadian.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that it looks amazing, and I think the reviews that I read, just, some of the gameplay, they seemed like it was good, but it didn't kind of go to the next level, I guess. But
yeah, I don't necessarily need it to go to the next level. I understand an 8 or 8.5 based on what I've played feels about right, but I'm kind of more shocked by the 8s and 8.5s for Lost in Random comparatively for games like this, when maybe it's I haven't got to the interesting elements of Lost in Random, which to me is a problem if it takes 2 hours to get what's interesting about your game. But yeah, I'm really digging it. I will beat this game.
Cool. The next thing I've been playing is a game called Night in the Woods, which I believe is a game from a Toronto developer, and it is leaving Game Pass, so I decided to check it out, even though I realized that I have it on Epic Store, so I don't have to be rushing myself if I don't
ultimate
want to.
Motivator.
Yeah. I know, I'm like, wait a second, I feel like this was free on Epic Store, and sure enough it was, but now I'm 2 hours in, so I don't feel like I want to replay that 2 hours. But I really heard great things about this game, but never really knew what the game was, other than that you kind of walked through the city. And I actually am really enjoying it. It's kind of like I'm playing sort of like the day in a life or the week in a life of this like cat character, which really isn't. It's just like a facade for like a human, right? They're just having normal human interactions. She's like just home from university or something, and having going and meeting her old friends from high school, and they're going to parties and they're going band practice. And I just it's just kind of like a relaxing, almost like visual novel trek through this game. And there are some platforming aspects. There's some, pretty clever, subtle humor in it that I like. I'm really enjoying it, surprisingly. I didn't expect it to be enjoying it as much as I am, but I would recommend it, especially if you have it free on Epic Store. So you don't have to rush out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been on my playlist for quite a while. So
yeah, a couple of years.
Yep. I got a couple quick things. So tried out Castlevania Grimoire of Souls, which I think you briefly tried as well, Huck.
Yep, briefly, yes.
So this is a new Castlevania game on Apple Arcade, which I was excited about, but I was like, okay, this can't be good, right? This is not going to be good. And it kind of isn't. I mean, I guess it's soft launched, and it was going to come out on iOS, and then they just didn't release it. And then, like, I guess a year or two later, Apple came along and said, hey, do you want to throw this on Apple Arcade? And so they did. And the thing is, it's got all this monetization stuff built in, but, obviously Apple Arcade games don't do in-app purchases. So I'm still kind of struggling a bit with what the point is. Like, I feel like they just kind of rebalanced it so that you get tons of gems from playing and you don't really have to buy, but like those mechanics or those systems are still in the game. So it's a little weird. But
so is it like a actual, I will say it in this case, a Metroidvania, or is it like just a level, a linear level that's like that and it's hack and slash type thing?
It's just like just an action game where you just fight waves of enemies essentially.
But you don't even have to fight. You just
that is a weird thing. They have an auto attack setting, which I turned off, but you can just auto attack, which is really weird. And I guess maybe there's some fun to like balancing and leveling up your character, but you can automate all that too. So, but if you're not doing the automated stuff, I thought the combat actually felt quite good with the controller. And it's cool because you can play as like different characters from the Castlevania series, like right away you unlock Simon Belmont and Alucard and I forget who comes next. But anyway, like it could be good. I kind of just kept playing a little bit to see if it was maybe like a roguelike or something. I thought maybe they might have had that in there, but it really isn't. It's just kind of like these setups of enemies that are levels that you have to work your way through. And maybe it gets more in depth as you work your way through it, but I don't know, it seems kind of dull. Yes. And then the other thing I played is I finally played Gorogoa, which is a puzzle game published by Annapurna, and I think it is coming to Game Pass in the near future, but I played it on iOS, and it's a real weird, for me it took a while to understand how the game works. There's basically there's pictures that are animated, and there's like 4 panels, and you kind of have to interact either by clicking on different parts of the picture or by dragging panels over to each other. And so, like you might have a picture of somebody standing in a doorway, and then you can drag that picture over, and only the doorway comes over to a different picture, and it overlaps a different picture, and something happens. And it's very it's kind of telling a story, but it's very abstract. Like there's no words or dialogue. And sometimes it's real hard to understand what you're trying to accomplish. So you kind of just end up playing around until something happens. But when it does click and you start understanding it, it's pretty cool. Like there's this children's book called Zoom, where you kind of have like a picture, and then the next page is like a zoom out of that picture, and it keeps going like throughout the book. And it's so, like will have a scene of like people swimming in a pool, and then the next page is, oh, that was just like a magazine cover, and now there's a different scene that you're looking at, and it's just a picture book. But it's kind of like that, where you keep pulling out of pictures and layering them on top of each other, and they become new things. And it's a hard to explain, but I ended up liking it a fair bit. It just took a while for me to understand how it works. So
it's been around for a while, I'm pretty sure, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, 2017 looks like when it came out.
I think I remember seeing it at like PAXs I went to.
Yeah.
For Miram, yeah.
Yep, that's it for me.
I haven't played anything else either.
Okay, I got one more thing. I picked up Persona 5 Royal out of the old library. And this was kind of an accidental borrow. The hold suspension had lapsed, so it automatically signed it out for me, along with a bunch of other games that I now have stacked over here. And I must say, I think so. I played Persona 4 Golden on my Vita and didn't really like it that much. So this game I wasn't totally excited to go into, but I think what happened was I think I went into the Persona 4 Golden with the wrong mentality. I was going into that game thinking, okay, this is an RPG set in a school environment, and that's not really what these games are. These games are visual novels with RPG elements. And if you are prepared to just basically go along with the story and really care about the characters, these games are pretty great. I must say, I'm really enjoying Persona 5 so far. I don't know how many hours I put in. I've definitely put in 3 or 4 at least, and I'm really enjoying the characters. It's a slow burn. I think I looked up a walkthrough, and it was like 160 part YouTube walkthrough, and I was on like part 5 after I felt like I'd already been playing for a while. So like I'm not even into it at all. But I'm really liking it. I think there's enough RPG mechanics with the battles that make it interesting. There's like normal combat. There's like a gun mechanic where you get like, let's say 3 to 8 bullets depending on what character you are, but those bullets recover every battle. So you can use those at strategic times. There's weaknesses for enemies. Then there's the personas, which are kind of like the magic of the game. And you can get different personas that have different abilities. And the UI work, Frank, like you should watch some videos of this UI. Like
I've seen the UI.
Yeah, this is like Frank Cream Dream Supreme on this one. It's like so dynamic. There's so many like incredible swipes and like screen transitions and little things they're doing with shaders that are, when you look a little closer, they're probably not that crazy, but the first impression is really impressive. Like it makes you feel like you're, playing something bigger than it probably is.
I can't speak to like the actual transitions and stuff like that, but the general aesthetic of the interface on all my first glances kind of makes me barf. I'm not gonna.
I would say don't look at still images. It really needs to be watched in like a video format to get it, because everything is moving and everything is like flowing so smoothly from one thing to the other, and how they transition everything is just so polished, and it really is very cinematic, like the whole game.
Looking at a GIF right now, and it's growing on me quite a bit. Not gonna...
Okay. Yeah, it's just the polish level of the graphics and the UI and how they integrate it into the world as well. So there's this big mechanic of you being able to like listen in on people's conversations and kind of give you more information. They have some mechanics where you don't really know where to go, so you have to talk to people, and then it will put it on the map and tell you where to go. Compared to Persona 4 Golden, I feel like the school you're in is almost the exact same layout as Persona 4 Golden, but I find that the dungeons are so far not. So in Persona 4 Golden, all the dungeons were just like randomly generated, boring ass hallways with enemies in them. This feels a little more tailored so far, and you've basically been returning to the same spot, but going slightly different routes. And that feels good so far. I'm liking it. And with Persona 4 Golden, I don't think there was fast travel. There's fast travel in the school, which makes it go really quickly. They also don't do the thing in RPGs I hate where they like send you way over to a place. You have to do like one line of dialogue and then they make you walk all the way back. They literally just like make you find the place so you know where it is. You finish that task and then he's like, I think I'm going to go home. And then it screen swipes and you're at home. You don't have to walk back. You're just back there. And I really appreciate that, especially in a game this long. I don't want to be wasting my time walking back to a place I know how to get to. Seems like a gigantic waste of time. Yeah, really liking it so far. Surprisingly liking it. I don't know if I'm just, with the kids going back to school, I'm just like loving life again or something. And I'm just like playing all these games and being enthralled by them. Maybe I'm actually able to like play games again, which is the change. But yeah, so far really enjoying both those games and hoping to keep going on them.
Well, I mean, Persona 5 is one of those games that the reviews were like amazing when it came out, and it's still, you know, people say it's like one of the best games from the last generation, I guess, right? So,
well,
I
same
mean,
with Persona 4 Golden as well. That's
one
true.
Of
the tops as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I probably will never play it, but just based on how much people love it and stuff, I'm kind of like I'd like to at least try it and see what it's like.
It's a lot of like just getting to know the characters, and each character has very unique personality. So you actually feel like you know these. It's almost like you're watching a TV show, to be honest, and you're kind of like learning the characters. And as the story progresses, you're kind of growing with the characters. And I think that's the appeal. It's sort of like a hybrid TV show game, which I think is the appeal of the Persona series in general.
Cool.
Okay, so wrapping up, thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out on youtube.com/GameJunk if you want to see the blue haze effect in reality. And on Twitter, it's MyAngryCommute and Equilibrium Sys for Andrew, and Sean is Film Junk. And who knows what we'll talk about next week. I bought Diablo 2. That's installed.
So did I. I picked it up. But...
Castlevania Advance, who knows? Maybe there'll be some big news, but until then, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.